technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good morning, my name is Joe McHugh, and here are your 10 a.m. BCIT News headlines. A common flood mitigation strategy failed to work for Europe's Musa River. The technique known as river widening caused corrosion, which led to more substantial flood damage. Our reporter Clara Lonto has more on why this could be a lesson for Vancouverites.
The flood management tactics involved are called the river widening. Jeremy Vendetti, a professor in School of Environmental Science at SFU, explains it as renaturalizing the river by widening it. Even though Vancouver relies on engineering and infrastructures as the dominant strategy, Vendetti shares how what happened in Meuse River could happen in Vancouver.
In the lower mainland of British Columbia, where we have lots of infrastructure built along rivers, in places where a bridge or something might narrow the river, it is possible to create erosion downstream because it changes the flow as it goes through that bridge.
Vendetti continues by saying that people have to be careful about the engineering infrastructure. Clara Lonto, BCIT News.
The Independent Investigations Office of BC has been called in to investigate after a person held in Vancouver police custody went into medical distress. The IIO says police responded to a crash on Georgia Street around 11 p.m. on Friday, following a collision between a black Tesla and a parked vehicle. They say the driver of the vehicle was arrested while a passenger was taken to hospital. The IIO goes on to say that upon their arrival at the jail, the driver was found to be in medical distress and was subsequently taken to the hospital by paramedics. The Conservation Officer Service of BC says 2 hikers were attacked by a grizzly bear in the McGregor Mountain area near Prince George. In a social media post, they say that the incident occurred on Saturday. The service did not provide additional details on the status of the hikers, the extent of their injuries, or any details concerning the attack. The area will be closed until the service's problem animal team finishes their investigation into the incident. The Alberta Provincial Government's Bargaining Committee and the union representing Alberta teachers are set to meet today for the first time since province-wide strike action began on October 6th. Today marks the 6th day of the strike, which has kept over 740,000 Alberta students out of the classroom. Last week, Alberta's Finance Minister, Nate Hornier, said the province had received an updated proposal from the Alberta Teachers Association, which represents approximately 51,000 teachers. Both sides have remained tight-lipped on the contents of the new proposal. Union members voted overwhelmingly to reject the province's previous offer, which included a 12% pay raise over 4 years and a promise to hire an additional 3,000 teachers. Moving on to international news, Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand says India has agreed to readmit a full cohort of Canadian diplomats. This comes after India forced Ottawa to send most of its diplomats home last year. The minister is in India, where she met with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and senior Indian officials, who invited her to be the first cabinet minister to visit the country after 2 years of diplomatic strain. Speaking from Mumbai, Anand says Canada is interested in reviving talks for a possible trade deal, for which negotiations have gone back and forth since 2010.
There is a significant level of economic interaction between the Canadian and the Indian economy. A free trade negotiation and process would augment already strong economic ties with a framework.
The last living Israeli hostages have been released alongside Palestinian prisoners as the tenuous ceasefire in Gaza continues to hold. Questions remain concerning other key parts of the U.S. peace and rebuilding plan for the region. ABC's Ian Pinnell has more.
Satellite images assessed by the UN showing 83% of structures in the Strip are damaged. So much remains to be done, not least how to end the famine here, how to rebuild, and how to dismantle Hamas. It'll require all of President Trump's efforts to make sure that this ceasefire turns into a lasting peace.
Uncertainties include the timeline for when Hamas will return the bodies of the 24 hostages believed to be dead in Gaza to Israel, and Israel's insistence that a weakened Hamas disarm. The future governance of Gaza also remains unclear. The sunshine is expected to continue through Thursday this week before we see some clouds come on Friday. The rain is expected to make a return on Saturday and Sunday. Those were your 10 a.m. news headlines. Join us again at 10:30 for the latest. Joe McHugh, BCIT News.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 16.
I knew a bit about Lightroom and Photoshop before coming into the program, but I didn't really know much about Premiere, and that kind of scared me. And so BCIT's really helped to kind of grow my skills in video editing, which is something I didn't really think I could do before and actually really enjoy now. It also taught me how to use the big cameras, so I can use more than just a DSLR now, which is very helpful as well.